Yes, so welcome all in this day 20 of the initiative called as Saturdays for Sustainability Learning, where with a goal to understand sustainability in a systematic manner and with its holistic understanding in our central theme for this discussion. So this is a mastermind group where different people, I would say experts or learners from sustainability field. So they will be joining here, and this is a peer-to-peer mentoring group. So collective wisdom of the group that is always higher than the individual, any individual on the earth. So that is something, a concept called as mastermind group. So we will try to take most of the benefit where the concept of synergy comes into picture. The 1 plus 1 is never equals to 2. It's always there is a possibility, infinite possibilities over there to learn, to co-create, to synergize, and take maximum benefit. So that is on that concept this entire discussion will be based, and where these are the four outcomes that you can expect. Right from first is learning one new concept every week, uh, every and this is very important in today's time, because we don't get enough time for reading, we don't get enough time for learning, and that's how we will devote this 1 hour for learning ourselves. So it's not something for others but something for us, how we can learn any new concept every week, or understand any new concept in a better way. Then second is networking with fellow professionals, understanding what exactly happening in other people's or other sustainability professionals' lives as well, and what is new in the field. Third is career opportunities, and fourth is about thought leadership. So this will be a group which will drive the sustainability movement in India and in the world as well. This is in short outcomes. So how do we do it? In short, I'll tell you, we will connect every week on Saturday at 7 p.m. It is a virtual call for around 60 minutes. We are trying to explore sustainability, and everyone joining here is a sustainability learner, and also everyone is also a trainer or a mentor for all of us. So, in this backdrop, with this short introduction, so today is 11th November, it is day 20, and there are two agenda for today. First is Sustainable Development Goals, or popularly called as SDGs. So, we'll try to understand the history and current status of SDGs, and we have our guest, Mr. Shivkumar, who is sustainability champion, and we would love to know more about sustainability, sustainable development goals from him. And second, at the end, I would also like to discuss on Diwali celebrations or the different cultural uh, festivities, how they need to change with sustainability point of view. As today, as Diwali has started, and let's have deliberations on this topic as well. So, with this short introduction, I would like to hand over this session to Mr. Shukumar, who will be guiding us on sustainable development goals. Yes.
Thanks, Dhananjay. Am I audible? Is my audio clear?
Yes.
Okay. Do you hear any sort of a background noise?
No.
Okay, just a moment. Okay. So basically, the agenda for today would be talking about how did the sustainable developmental goals come up with? What was the background? How did we take care of them? How were they born? Then we're going to understand what is this concept of sustainable development. And we're going to go through how are the different angles in which we can look at these goals, and what is the current progress update on that goals, right? So basically, before sustainable developmental goals came into picture, we had something which was referred to as millennium developmental goals. So on the left-hand side, what you see on the screen, we had about 8 millennium developmental goals. So during the year of 2012, when we had the conference on sustainable developmental at Rio de Janeiro, that was like the birthplace of these SDGs. So from the period of 2012 to 2015, for those 3 years, That was, I think, the largest ever participatory process which UN had undertaken, and more than about 10 million people from all across the globe expressed their views. And then this helped us come up with this concept, which they refer to as 2030 agenda or the sustainable developmental goals. Though they had an initial proposal of about 300 goals, the team of experts came together and finalized on these 17 goals, right? And these 17 goals are interconnected. The success of one goals definitely affects the other as well. One classic example would be sort of climate change, how climate change affects the other goals related to your gender equality or health, reducing the inequalities in the society, and how does the economic angle connect to this. To put it in very, very simple ways, I think the framework that we have, sustainable developmental goals, I think this is our best chance to give our future generations a planet that would be habitable. Okay. So coming on to this question about what is sustainability, right? We hear various versions of this. So in 1987, the Brundtland Commission came across this definition, what is shown here in green. So according to them, sustainable development is that development which meets the needs of the present without compromising on the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs, right? So if you look at the three main parameters that we have here, right? One is the economic angle, the other one would be the social and the environmental angle. Now, how these three factors interact with each other in this complicated world, the one that you see here in this diagram, the economic engine, largely represented by this orange circle here. Now, whenever we refer to economic engine, it's largely around profits, revenues, when it comes to companies. From a country's point of view, it can be GDP. So all those things are comprised in this particular orange circle. Now, irrespective of whichever product or service company you're part of, the economic engine needs raw materials and resources, and the green circle, which represents the environment, is what is providing us these raw material and resources. And today, due to the enhanced economic activity, the environment is taking a beating. You also have this blue circle, largely representing the society or the social progress. Largely, the expectation is to have a society where there is not too much of imbalance between the rich and poor. So now there is a point here where all these three circles are overlapping each other. Now, this is that golden mean, which we refer to as the sustainable development, right? So this is the dream that we want to achieve. In the current scenario, the orange circle wins hands down. This takes all the priorities, and there is excessive focus on this particular circle. But now the idea is to how do we get into this particular mode so that it's purely about this generation and the upcoming generation and what sort of world that we live in, right? Again, maybe we can pause now. If you have any questions or discussions, we can do. If the team wants to have any questions, we can pause for now, or we can probably do it at the end as well, whichever works fine.
Yeah. So just for a thought for all of us. So it's very difficult that even if we can understand, we can relate it with our organization. So all the different departments coming together and working for a goal, that's quite difficult, right? So everyone has their agenda, and many times it's contradicting with each other. Or let's say for production people and for quality people, so there is always opposing viewpoints, right? But please try to understand the context that around 200 countries coming together and deciding that this is the document, these are the 17 goals that we all agree to abide by, or we all agree to contribute to these goals. So this is a really great work that happened in, let's say, before 2015 for last 3-4 years, and by 2015 in Paris we got this framework, we got this entire details that okay, all agree this is important for all and let's contribute towards it. So this was a major milestone in environmental conservation movement after the Montreal Protocol, which talked about greenhouse gases and how do we save the ozone layer. So that was a successful attempt by all the world, all the nations of the world, and this is the second time where all the world come together for the first time and all agreed, okay, let's do it. So in that context, it's very important to understand these all goals and how can we relate it with our activities, or how do we relate it with different countries, different organizations. So I guess this is just I would like to put the context. Yes, over to you. And please, if you have any questions, please do ask. This session has to be thought provoking and maybe giving us more insights and more details of these concepts. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to getting to understand what are these 17 goals, right? Again, as Dhananjay was mentioning, these are extremely comprehensive. So what you look at is initially when they branch or start off, you see that they start off with poverty, hunger, good health, education, gender equality, and clean water. So basically, what we are trying to see here is the importance what they give to all the basic necessity, and they slowly start branching out on what are the other things that we can go into. And in the second row of goals, what we see is starting off with clean energy. Very important that it has to be affordable as well. Uh, how does our work and economic growth pay into picture? Industry, innovation, and infrastructure, what key roles that they play? How do we talk about reduced inequalities, largely from an economic point of view? And in future, how do we have sustainable cities and communities? Extremely crucial because about close to 60% of the world's population will be living in cities soon. And when we get into such situations, it becomes very crucial as to how we manage our cities. Another big contributor would be the way we consume or the way we produce goods, right? Today, there is a lot of talk about wastage, and a lot of it can be attributed to how we consume and produce goods. Then the last set of rows, what we talk about is climate action. Again, something which is always on top of all the risk items. We also talk about life below water. Largely, this is something which is not very visual to us, right? 2/3 of our planet is covered by water, and the ocean absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide. And within that, there are a series of different set of activities that get triggered if excessive carbon dioxide is absorbed by these oceans. So that is another important goal that we have. And also life on land. It's not only humans. We share it with different set of species. How are they impacted by our activities? And for all these 15 goals to work, number 16 and 17 is very crucial, right? Until unless we have peace, justice, and strong institutions, and if all the countries do not come together for the goals as partners together, it will be very difficult for us to talk about these SDGs. Now, what the time frame that we have is about from 2015 to 2030. So this is the time frame that we've taken to sort of meet these goals. Again, each of them have several targets and indicators as well. As you see, the totally it sums up to about 169 targets and about 232 indicators. Now, with this being such a comprehensive goal, how do we make it more attractive to businesses to make use of this? Is largely around each of these represent a huge business opportunity. And now creating such win-win situations where as an organization or an enterprise, you are using this business opportunity to enhance lives of people around you, and then achieve the sustainable developmental goals as well. And if we are able to make this into a profitable sustainability, it will be a huge advantage. Okay. Again, I'll pause for now before going to the next slide. If you have anything to add, questions, queries, we can discuss.
Any question or anything to have a discussion at this point, please? Or if you like, you can also jot down your questions and we can discuss it. So both are fine.
Absolutely. So there is another angle in which we look at these SDGs, right? So basically, these 17 SDGs is now categorized into these 3 layers, right? The first layer that you see on top largely represents the economic angle. So basically, you have SDGs 8, 9, 10, and 12 that largely focus on the economic aspects. So these are your decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And you have reduced inequalities and responsible consumption and production. So these are your 4 SDGs focusing largely around the economy. And the next 8 SDGs are largely focusing on how the society plays a key role in this. And the last layer largely refers to the biosphere or the planet angle, where you look at goals number 13, 14, 15, and 6, which was clean water. Now you see how, and you have the 17th one, which is sort of interlinking all of them. That is nothing but the partnership for these goals. Now you see how each one of them interlock with each other, like the economy is part of your society and the society is part of your overall biosphere. Unlike the first slide where we saw where these 3 circles were of the same size, in reality, what we see is economy is always driven for the society, and society is the part of the overall larger planet or the biosphere, right? So this is another way of looking at how these SDGs are playing here. Okay. I have another example where within HP, how have we taken these sustainable developmental goals and we've used this to create the strategy with respect to sustainability. Like, for example, we've broken it down into 3 categories: planet referring to climate action, people referring to human rights, and community around the digital equity piece. Like, for example, based on goal number 12, 13, and 15, our focus would largely be when it comes to climate action around forests, carbon emissions, and circularity, right? Similarly, when it comes to people or human rights, we are referring to social justice, racial and gender equality. How does the culture of inclusion and belonging be there, and empowering the workers? The whole idea is to sort of create a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the last category, where digital equity, where we refer to enhancing opportunities for people across all strata for education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. So this is a way where we've translated the SDGs into a company's sort of strategy, right? And then again, I'll pause for now in case you have any questions, queries. We can probably discuss, or we can move ahead. Okay. So moving on. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I guess we can move ahead, and
Okay.
at the end we can take up some questions.
Okay.
Right.
So currently, how are we doing? It's almost been about 8 years since we started this journey on the Sustainable Developmental Goals. We've crossed the halfway mark. This is one of the latest report which says how are we doing on each one of these factors. So what we see here on the top, the first column largely refers to the goal that we have. And we are picking up some very key indicators to show how these goals are broken down. And we also have this focus in terms of these colors representing how close or how far away they are from the target. So the green largely speaks about we are very close to the target, or we've almost met the target. And then when it goes to red, that means we are very, very far away from that. And then you also have what is the trends and the progress. And in the last 3 years, what's happening? Is it improving? It's been the same, or is it gone back? So if you look at goal number 1, again, it says at number 3, moderate our distance to the target, largely poverty, though a lot of good work was done from the MDG days. But I think COVID was something that really pulled this back, right? So again, what they are referring to is in terms of more accelerated progress that is definitely needed in this particular category. Again, when it comes to hunger, definitely we're very far away from the target. Close to 600 million people suffer from food shortage. And then each of these goals, and again, there are certain goals which, like, for example, the one that you see here, increase skilled birth attendance, it's almost there. It's very close to the target or almost met. And there are a lot of these things which you see in the orange or in the red category. Again, moving on to the other goals here, referring to the gender equality, and referring to clean water and sanitation, clean energy, sustainable growth, and industry innovation and development. Some of these things you sort of see that we are already in green, very close to things. The 9C1 represents the mobile networks. So how are we increasing our digital footprint so that we are able to connect large populations to these mobile networks? And with this digital era, it's extremely important to make use of the advance in technology that would support the sustainable developmental goals. And then moving on to the next set of goals revolving around reduced inequalities. Again, more acceleration needed, affordable housing acceleration needed. Okay, now if you look at, as you start moving into 12, 13, 14, you see there is a lot of deterioration happening. One of the important indicators for climate change is the greenhouse gas emissions, right? Though there was a lot of talk about how do we reduce this, I think the progress is not up to the mark. And again, life below water, number 14, where we refer to fish stocks, right? Excessive usage of advanced marine ships, which are leading to these fish stocks being deteriorated, excessive fishing. So that is impacting the marine biodiversity. And then number 15 largely refers to the life on land. Again, very limited progress. There is a huge risk on extinction of species. So how are these species able to adapt themselves to this climate change is a huge question, right? So these have been pushed to the brink of extinction, right? And then again 17.8.1, which largely refers to the internet usage, pretty much progress, and we've been sort of on track to meet the targets. As I was saying in my previous conversation, number 16 and 17 are extremely crucial for us to achieve these SDGs. If we do not have peace, like the wars that are currently happening across the globe, everything else takes a backseat. And then partnership is absolutely crucial. It's not as Dhananjay, the example that he was giving, it can be as simple as a partnership within your organization. Now, what we are referring to here is partnership across these countries, 190 plus countries, how they come together and agree for fostering these goals, right? Okay. So with this, I sort of pause now. And then we'll probably open up for questions or queries, and then I'll hand it over to Dhananjay for the next part.
Yes. Do we have some interesting questions? Please do ask. So this is a group, this is a platform where we are not having any restriction of thought. You should not ask this or you should not say this. So this is an open discussion forum without judgment. And please do ask whatever viewpoint you have. Maybe some questions. Maybe we can ask. We can raise some queries, some basic fundamental questions of SDGs. So that is also fine.
No questions, but based on this, data we shared, I think condition is very alarming, and I think we have to act now. Otherwise, the target for 2013 will be kind of dream only. So I think we are, I think, on backward trend on most of the targets. So yeah, I think there's nothing question, but yeah, the condition I think very worst. I think I can guess.
Right.
Agree with you, Ranveer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Ranveer.
Yeah, but there's no question. But yeah, I think condition is very alarming, and I think being a sustainability champion, I don't know how we can take it further so that at least we can do our part in this,
Yeah.
in this journey. I think I'm not sure how government are taking all these things, or these are only on kind of papers, or I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So what we can do, so this group is also solution oriented. So we are not here only to discuss problem. What exactly we can do? So this is one report, and from this report, I guess we had discussed the status. So this is 2023. What is update on SDGs with different goals and with some details with statistics that's given. So what I'll do, we will not discuss more from this group today, more from this report today. I'll just share this report in our group so that you can also check meantime in next week. And in next week, we will connect again to discuss more on the status and what is future of SDGs. So that also we can discuss in next week. But yeah, something that today we are discussing more is about fundamental questions regarding SDGs. One question that I have for brainstorming is, so do you find SDGs are means whether all SDGs are compatible with each other? So as we say, okay, so one goal if you achieve, then it will help the second goal. But at the same time, if one goal, if we have to achieve one goal, the second goal also deteriorates. So somewhere positive and negative correlation is there. So what are your views on this? So
Trade-offs
can we
and
achieve all
synergies.
17 sustainable development goals? Yes, Anuji. Yeah.
Yeah, like that, the thing you're talking about, like trade-offs and synergies,
Yeah.
we call it. Yeah. Like also, like I've been studying sustainability for a long time.
Mhm.
Like I visited SDG site and found that like some of the targets, like 12, zero hunger, it shows that we already achieved it. But I personally think we have not. Like
Mhm.
the data is a bit shady over there.
Right.
Also in Niti Aayog, we have like the stats, and it is a bit shady for me.
Yeah. The reason being, what I see over here is many of the organizations you can see they publish some report that we are working in this SDG or that SDG, but they clearly don't have any idea. So it's just
Greenwashing.
yeah, greenwashing, or they just want to be in the fashion, whatever is happening now, whatever is in the trend. So let's be in that trend. So SDG is a trendy, and that's how many of the organizations are coming into it. But yeah, so proper understanding is one thing that we all can do. And one my personal opinion is only SDG 4, that is quality education, is one of the way through which we can achieve all the SDGs. SDG 4 focusing on the partnership and the peace, the 16 and 17. So that is something, how do we focus on that while contributing to our other goals and targets that as an organization we have. So I would like to know from you all. So what do you think about the different interrelationship between all these SDGs?
I think some of these SDGs, as you rightly mentioned, they can be complementary, and at the same time, uh, we need to sort of look at how we balance it. Like, for example, the economic growth that we are talking about, the way we've currently designed uh, our whole planet is the more economic engine runs, it is directly impacting the environment because that's the way we've designed ourselves. So that needs a huge question. That raises a huge question saying that, okay, you want to increase your economic development, but at what cost? So that's a big question.
Yeah. And when you are sharing that there is one axis and around which environment, society, and economy was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I also thought it in that way, in a similar way of Venn diagram. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this one. So let's say every organization has to take a decision based on their short term and long term goals, maybe, right? So something comes as short term priority, and some things come as a long term priority. So what organization have to focus on? So I guess this can be, if we draw a Venn diagram, so this can guide organizations to take their decision. For example, whatever decision that you take with reference to economy, that should not harm the society and biosphere,
Absolutely.
right? So long-term focus and highest priority should be given to biosphere, then second order should be to society, and then for the economy. So while taking any decision, if there are any we can say contradictions between these two, so let's say economy versus society or economy versus biosphere, and that can be translated into SDG goals. So let's say SDG goal number 8, which let's say we want to provide jobs and we want to provide livelihoods for the people, on the condition that it doesn't violate the society comprising all 8 SDGs and biosphere all 4 SDGs. So in that sense, we can take SDG as a guiding principle, guiding tool for the organizations to take their decisions.
Completely agree.
So that is one learning for me from this diagram actually.
I think we also have that sort of slide there, uh, which probably talks about the interlinkages piece, which we just now shared.
Yeah. Yes, you can
You
share
share
that
Yeah,
as
let me
well.
share that.
And thanks Anuj for sharing this. So after this discussion, I'll share this
Yeah, this was a slide.
visual
This was
tool.
the
Yeah.
diagram, I guess, right? That was in the
Yes.
comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think here you have 3 different lines talking about how what is the connection. It refers to the major, medium, and minor connections between these SDGs. So the one thicker lines represent a stronger connection, like climate action and partnership goals, where it influences all the SDGs, and then you see certain connections between these across, and you see a fairly interconnected one.
Yes. So my learning from this is when I see how do we intervene, right? So which is the best possible way to intervene and have some measures. So quality education is something that is
Absolutely.
influencing all in a sense. Let's say if we have a quality education, that will have strong major influence on the gender equality, which will give to clean water, sanitation, and in this way, somehow this is impacting all other SDGs
True.
with focus on. So if I guess the major tool that we can learn, so as we had a question, right? So how do we act? So what should be our contribution into this in view of all the dire consequences of the progress of SDGs? So one thing that comes in my mind is quality education with focus on let's say partnership and peace, prosperity. So how do we take people understand all these and how do they contribute in their small way? So that is something we can do in our small capacity, and then we can come back how as a at a personal and at a professional level, how do we contribute to, let's say, no poverty, or can we generate some livelihoods to the people. And while doing so, keeping our focus on this quality education, making sure that people understand what exactly they need to contribute. And in this way, this can lead to a chain reaction, what I suppose might be one of the solution. Others can share. Yeah, please. Uh, while studying this diagram, I have one actually question, just for better understanding. So, is there any difference in major, medium, and minor impact or correlation? So, can we understand it in a better way? So, why something is shown as a major or why something is shown as a minor? Uh, Anybody would like to share what is your thought process?
It is nothing but just the impact it is creating. For example, like uh, gender equality is creating a minimum impact on industry innovation. Uh, like it's just based on the impact, how much is it impacting? It is directly related or indirectly related. That's it.
Mhm. All right. Because where I disagree is, so maybe we think that it is minor, but maybe it can be a major influencer as well. So, how do have they taken minor or major? So that is one thing that.
Like I have a exam of like I have a subject on principle in sustainabilities. So I was studying. I had a similar diagram. I can show, but I don't know. I can. So like there are like trade-offs and synergies, which I personally don't agree that which are not impacting another SDG. So like I have like there is some gap in these SDGs. I believe this.
Mhm. So, means, do you want to say that ki whatever, let's say, correlation shown here, so this is not limited to this, right? So there might
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like I have a better diagram if I can show you.
yeah, please, if
Uh,
possible. So, for example, in this previous diagram, so they are showing that quality education, but it can impact others as well. So that is one
yeah.
way to look at it.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
I don't know if I have a right for showing this.
Okay.
Still,
Okay,
it's
so this
from a
is
college.
trade-off and synergy. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, these are the interlinkages for that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, these are the trade-offs where there are some trade-offs which I don't believe that have impact on some other
Mm-hmm.
ACGs. Like quality education don't have a trade-off as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like 8 and I think 12. No, 9 and 12 are the one which has synergies with all the SDGs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, 15 don't have a synergy with anyone, and 10 doesn't have a synergy with anyone.
Okay.
Uh, You can see
Yeah,
that.
so I do not agree on this life on
Yeah, yeah,
land 15. The
yeah,
reason being,
I personally don't agree, but like, if I
the,
don't write it in my exam, I will get zero.
because it's quite evident that if you just
Yeah,
check SDG 15, life on land, right?
yeah,
So that is something which is directly correlated to biodiversity,
yeah.
right? So it is a biosphere. If that is in good health, then only we can have the businesses or whatever other things that we can imagine in the world.
I agree, but still we have to study. Can't
But
really.
it's interesting. So what I see the value of this diagram or such kind of analysis is uh, they are they are inspiring us, or they are thought provoking in a sense that we are understanding how different SDGs are uh, rela- interrelated with each other, how they are,
Interconnected and related.
yeah. So in that sense, I guess this is useful. And anyway, these SDGs or all the sustainability concept, they cannot be implemented as a one solution fits all. So maybe learning from one area to the other area, one nation to other nation, it has to be thought of in that context, space, time, and scenario, whatever it is. So that has to be there. So
Yes.
this is useful in that sense. But yeah, thanks Anuj for sharing this.
How do I unshare?
Yes, thank you so much. So you had also shared this one interesting
Absolutely. That's
website.
a very interesting link that he had shared in the chat here.
Yeah, so I'll just put it on screen. I hope it is visible.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So all the different visualization options are also here available. All linkages are out degree linkages, in degree linkages. Okay. Let's only see positive interlinkages. Let's see. Is it updating?
No. You have to run it after
Okay, run
selecting.
it. Yeah. So it might not show, I guess, because I had only selected one. Okay. So, but still it is showing. So just for example, if we can take it. So end extreme poverty 1.1, half national poverty. Absolutely, these are related. And 1.4, which is central, as we can see. So every indicator is coming over here. Full access to basic services and economic resources. Build resilience of the poor to climate and other disasters. Mobilize resource for ending poverty. And yeah, this is create pro-poor policy frameworks. Yeah, this is interesting, that sense. So let's see all, and I'll run. India. Oh, but yeah, this is interesting. We can for learning, it's good. We can check any of the SDGs, and then we can understand. So why this one is in center? Do you have any understanding of this?
Not particularly, but I think it has more interconnection with every other, what we say, like, goals and targets.
And this is showing status, or no? No, it's not
Status we
showing.
can see in SDG's official website. And for India, we can see it in NITI Aayog.
Yeah. So maybe this is good resource, and by next week we can come up with more details on SDGs. What is status now with SDGs? So what exactly happening, and what is the status of India as well? So little bit deep dive on the current status and the future. And next week I'll try to invite some of the experts from, there is something coming up as inner development goals as extension to SDGs, as MDGs and then SDGs came after SDGs. So they are planning to have some inner development goals. So I'm not sure whether it will come or not, but there is a group that is working in this field. So I'll also invite them maybe later this week, later this month. Yeah, so that was a great discussion, and thank you so much, Shivkumar ji, for this wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you all. Happy Deepavali. Bye-bye.
Happy Diwali. Yes.
Happy Diwali.